Alright folks, Puccini's Idiot, we are back for the Criminal Case on Facebook. Let's head on to chapter number 3, where we try and figure it out, but Ramirez is going to help us. What are you talking about, Ramirez? About your victim. I knew her. I had an assignment to follow her for a client. Wait, someone hired you to follow Karen Boulder? Then spill the beans. Who was it? A town hall employee called Teresa Cole. Wait a minute, she's one of our suspects. Why did she want you to follow her? She wanted to know if Miss Boulder was breaking any laws. I didn't understand it, and I found no evidence of crime in Miss Boulder's life. So Miss Cole was trying to find dirt on her victim. Alright, H, you better explain what this was all about. Miss Cole, you didn't tell us you hired a private detective to follow Miss Boulder. Why didn't you come to the police if you suspected her of anything illegal? Oh, you found out. Fine, Secret Agent Ace. I'll tell you what happened. Miss Boulder needed to file for more excavation permits. When I explained it might take a while, she called me a small-minded paper pusher and an ignorant office drone. An office drone? Me. Didn't she understand how much I work and it did for a precious ancient city? Without my paper pushing, that day would be chaos. Besides, she was a small-minded one. I might not wear my hiking boots to work, but I do like some adventure. I know how to survive in the wild. So Miss Boulder was snippy with you because she had to wait for her paperwork. But I still don't get why you had her followed. I wanted an excuse to reject her request. Littering, a health and safety breach, anything. That would have taught her to look down on bureaucrats. I paid the private detective out of my own pocket, but since he didn't find anything, it was an even bigger waste than buying the book, Lost City. Miss Cole, you went to great pains to teach Miss Boulder respect, but if you did worse than waste your money on a PI, Secret Agent Ace will find out. Ace, now that we've followed up on Ramirez's lead, what do we do next? Want to take another look at the tea room? We know the victim and the killer are both there. Alright, I'm ready. Ace, I'm tempted to order a donut, but I shall resist until we crack the case. What did you find? Well played. That's the victim's laptop, and a password has never stopped you before. You also found a battered map of Zerta. Probably the archaeologist left it here, but I'm not sure how it's going to help us. You want to vacuum up the colorful powder from the paper? Alright, Ace, there's no time for doubts. Your instincts have never failed us before. It's true. It's true, I'm pretty good. Oh. Ace, vacuum up that colored powder from the map revealed a message addressed to the victim. It says, Karen, you can't stop me. You're right, that sounds threatening. Maybe the powder you got off the map will tell us who wrote it. It's probably the artist. She probably told him that he couldn't do pictures in there. Funny, I think the one thing, more than anything, that Criminal Cases taught me is be nice to everybody. You never know. Awesome, Mason. Let's send the victim's laptop to Kathy. She'll unearth all the buried digital treasure on it. It's like everything in Criminal Case could get rectified if you were just nice to people. Ace, the multicolored powder you collected from the map is dust from pastel crayons, special brand called Superhero Supplies. Wait, we know someone who's into superheroes and drawing. Marcus, the cartoonist. You're right, if Marcus wrote Karen, you can't stop me on Zer's map. We must interrogate him again. Yep, yep, yep. Yo, Secret Agent Ace, want to see my new sketch of the Dragon of Zerda? We already talked about your other work, the message you scribbled on Karen Boulder's map. Kaboom, you found that. Alright, hear the truth. Miss Boulder was my nemesis. She wanted to banish me from the dig. But I needed to be there to draw the ruins, so our epic war commenced. First, she sent that other guy, Bruno, to kick me out, and he threw his hiking boots at me. But I dodged. Ha ha ha. Then Miss Boulder said she was gonna get an order to ban me from the dig. And I couldn't let that happen. That's when I wrote that message on her map. Zerda doesn't belong to the archaeologist Secret Agent Ace. It's the inspiration for my superhero saga. Well, if it was also an inspiration for murder, you must know that Secret Agent Ace has superpowers too, and is catching killers. But don't. Ace, even if I hadn't known this laptop belonged to an archaeologist, I would guess from the state of the hard drive, you could say it's full of ancient relics. And I just mean Karen's passion for Schmet tricks. I don't think she'd have lit a single file in her life. I even found Karen's old assignments from when she was studying history at the university, and something caught my eye. Ace, Karen's ancient civilizations professor was Ray Parker. What? Chief's husband? But he never mentioned he knew her. And I might know why. I found evidence that Karen filed a complaint against Mr. Parker, claiming that his lectures were too boring. So the relationship obviously wasn't cordial. Ace, do you think historians hold grudges longer than others? Probably. You're right, we better ask Mr. Parker about this. Secret Agent, I've just read an excellent article about Zerdan grasshopper farming. I'm sorry we have more personal questions. You didn't mention you knew Karen Boulder as a student. Oh, it's a painful memory I had buried deep inside, but as a historian, I know the truth always comes to light. Why did she file a complaint against you? Karen's one of my brightest students, but one day after my seminar on comparative Babylonian button sewing tradition, she told me my lectures were boring. She said she'd file an official complaint before an entire generation of future historians decides to study accounting instead, if only to escape the tedium. Karen's words undermined my confidence. Every time I heard a student laugh, I imagined they were mocking me. I thought my colleagues were looking at me sideways. I became depressed. Eventually I had to resign to save my sanity. Diane doesn't know this, but that's why I never taught again. Oh, well, that must have been difficult. And then your new project brought you back in touch with Karen. But I never blamed Karen for what happened to Secret Agent Ace. I turned a new leaf when I moved to Grimsboro. I suggest you do the same. Put this old story to rest. Yep. Yeah, Chief, Mr. Parker neglected to mention he crossed paths with our victim before. We were obliged to look into it. We have plenty of other suspects with motives and opportunities. A disgruntled city employee, a comic book artist. I'm glad to hear you have plenty of leads, Ace. You know I expect swift results. Yeah, we must find out who turned the Zerda ruins into Karen's final resting place. Good thinking. Let's head back to our victim's tent and unearth the last piece of evidence. Oh, there's black tar. Alright, there we go, there we go, there we go. Ace, that tin can is stained with some foul-smelling black goo. I bet my bottom dollar is tar. This must be what our killer used. There's some fiber stuck to the tin. We better collect a sample. And I agree, we should look into that pile of ancient relics too. We can't leave a stone unturned now that we're so close to the killer. close, we're so close. We're so close. Whoa, what's this? Ah, hand pump. Yes, you found a hand pump under those relics. Yep, Martine mentioned a hand pump when she told us how the killer force-fed the victim. Let's send the pump to the lab pronto. Fibers, interesting. Great, Ace. Now that you have those fibers from the killer's tar can, let's get them to the lab. Yes, sir. Speed this up. Nope. Ace's tar-soaked fibers collected from the killer's pot were a good find. Well, that's reassuring. I was worried that being soaked in tar destroyed their composition beyond repair. Yeah, no, yes and no. The original color is pretty much impossible to determine. However, I've managed to analyze their composition. It's a mix of silk and lycra, mostly from a scarf. The killer must have worn a scarf while handling the tar, and some strands got caught in the sticky substance. Ah, so we're looking for killer with the scarf. They'll find it a real pain in the neck when we come to arrest them. We are going to figure out who the killer is in 10 seconds. Rupert, what's your verdict on this hand pump Ace found? There's no doubt about it. This is what the killer used to force feed the victim. I found cells from the lining of Karen's esophagus on the tube, which proves that the device was forced down the throat. How gruesome. But how'd you find anything about the killer, Rupert? Indeed. You see, the killer had to operate this pump manually, which required some exertion. They left traces of sweat on the handle. The sample was enough to build a partial DNA profile, Ace. I can tell you that your killer is female. Oh, snap. The killer who made a pot of tar to force feed the victim is a woman? It's time to bring her to justice, Ace. What? Teresa Cole. Wow. Did not think it would be her. Okay, so how many years? How many years do we think we shall get? I'm thinking 20. 20 or 25, I think. Teresa Cole, you're under arrest for Karen Boulder's murder. Agent Ace, no offense, but I'm very busy. Can't somebody else deal with this? Busy? Well, we know that you've dedicated all your time to Miss Boulder's demise. You really put your survival skills to the test. All I did was hire that PI, and I've already explained why. Perhaps it was foolish to ever follow, but it wasn't illegal. No, but you did more. You sent her a death threat, copied from that Zerdan history book, which you admitted reading. I don't even like that book. I only read it because that's all the people talk about since the ruins were found. Miss Cole, you can't deny it. We found your DNA on your tar-stained hand pump. Just tell us, what made you kill Karen in that bizarre manner? I wanted to make it look weird so the police would suspect the crazy Colt, not me. Uh-oh. Fine, Secret Agent Ace, I give up. I'm exhausted enough as it is. I confess to killing her. Running from the police is the last thing I need. You can't imagine the mystery and burden of suddenly finding a lost civilization. I've had no sleep since it was discovered. It wasn't just Miss Boulder harassing me for excavation permits. It was the mayor, the press, the tourism board, even the Pope. I couldn't take it anymore. I was sick of working weekends, taking phone calls at night. I wanted my life back. I wanted that wretched hole in the ground backfilled. I wanted Zerda to disappear again. Wait, so you were overworked and exhausted, but instead of taking a vacation, you decided to kill an archaeologist? Sleep deprivation gives you the wildest thoughts, Secret Agent Ace. One night, I was sitting in my garage looking at that leftover pot of tar from my last DIY project. That gave me an idea. I thought a strange death at the site would scare everyone away from those ruins. So on my next visit to the dig, I snuck up on Miss Boulder, tied her up, and pumped that tar into her throat until she suffocated. Dude, this lady needs like 40 years. 40 years for sure. I thought an unsolved murder would force the authorities to close down the dig, but I didn't count on you, Secret Agent Ace. Wow, Miss Cole. It's clear that chronic exhaustion impaired your judgment, but you'll have to face up to what you've done. You're arrested for murder. Teresa Cole, you sent trial for murdering an archaeologist by forcing tar down her throat. Next to my teenage daughter, I was aware that eating laundry pods was a thing, but drowning people in tar is even new to me. What was going through your mind? Laundry pods? I couldn't deal with that ancient city anymore, Your Honor. I was drowning too in paperwork. Yeah, your psychiatric report says you were chronically overworked and suffered a nervous breakdown. What? The court sentences you to 10 years in prison with mandatory counseling. That is ridiculous. Just promise me I won't have to see Zerta from my prison cell. Oh my gosh, 10 years. Joke. What a joke. All I gotta do is just feign stupidity. Ace, they say the work stress is a killer, but I've never taken it literally. But you did a brilliant job as always. Now that the archaeologists can go back to digging, and I can finally eat my well-deserved donut. I never doubted you handled the case like a pro, Ace. I'd like to apologize for any trouble I caused. I think I got mixed up in a criminal investigation. At least we had a chance to lay some ghosts to rest, Ray. Now we can all look to the future again. As for your future, Ace, you still have an ongoing inquiry, the Cult of the Higher Truth. I want you back on the trail as soon as you're ready. Yes, sir. That happens to close out Chapter 3. We'll be heading on to the additional investigation called Moment of Truth. I'll see you guys then. It's been Pitching Ace 88. Over and out.